We're live. I'm told we're live. Hey guys, it's Brandon with Investment Joy on the Delicious Dollars podcast, because that is the actual name for this. If you're on TikTok, there's going to be some delicious laundromat money in view. If you're on YouTube, I'm sorry guys, they get the vertical format. We were at the laundromat. I'll talk about it just a little bit, itty bit, about the Sledgehammer situation. I was just in Chillicothe at my laundromat. Crap, I shouldn't even say where my laundromat's located, should I? And we got my laundromat is full of customers. You guys will see it'll be on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. There's a freaking guy walking down the Walnut Street where my laundromat's located. He was walking down the road with a sledgehammer in his hands. So that is, I've got to come up with something that happened to me on this day
for the
podcast. Danny D'Angelo's here live with me. I apologize for all of you 439 people watching me right now on TikTok.
I don't believe that.
He doesn't believe we have 517 people
walking down.
But my fans on TikTok are going to watch. They're going to see the money here on the show, and they're going to ask me. They're going to get to see the thing. Yeah. I promise you there's somebody else here in the studio with me. My YouTube comments are really great. Everybody knows where your laundromat is, Brandon. You're great. People talking with one of my competitors, Car Wash Chronicles. And on TikTok, they're asking me what my mental disability is. So, but hey, I got 1,200 people on TikTok.
How about the
right
laundry
now.
list of mental disabilities? So, that's where you hit the drums, Noah.
We've got sound effects for the podcast, guys.
Ba-dum-bum.
Yeah. So, I'm really happy. I've got 1,300 people on TikTok right now watching me with the money. And we're going to talk about laundromats today. We are with here. We're going to see if I can do this on TikTok. I am here live with Danny D'Angelo. Oh my goodness, how the heck do I flip this around? I obviously don't do this enough. Here, go see my studio.
You should have.
That's people. Danny D'Angelo, guys. He has helped hundreds, thousands. He's helped over 9 billion people, even though that exceeds the capacity of Earth. He's helped over 9 billion people start a laundromat. So he's the guy that if you've ever seen on the internet, free laundromat, and he helps people negotiate deals to get their own free laundromat. So he's live in the studio with us today. Make sure that you hit the like button on the stream, whichever platform you're on. Make sure that you consider investmentjoy.com, where we are doing coaching and training and education on how do you start that laundromat for free. How do you start that car wash when you have a 500 credit score and a judgment against you for something that's not your fault. We're doing coaching and training on that right now at investmentjoy.com, so be sure to take a look at that. So, hey, here we go. Live with
By the way, make sure that your TikTok people follow me on the YouTube machine because
follow Danny.
I'm going to start TikToking, but I do not twerk, so it's going to be a rough start.
It's going to be a rough start. Okay, cool.
They can't hear me unless I scream into your phone, right? On TikTok.
No, the phone. Hey guys, tell me on TikTok, can you hear Danny very well?
Hello.
I've got a large,
loud
loud voice. I'm sure you guys can hear me. Can you hear Danny talking?
My voice is loud too, but aren't they only going through your phone?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
but it
fine.
Still should be okay. They said very. They hear him fine. Cool.
Wow.
So
must be the sound deadening in here.
Yeah, we're in a very nice studio.
Take out a piece of paper, you millennials, and write down Danny D'Angelo, the king of laundry.
On TikTok, they're saying you sound a lot more masculine than I do.
I'm sorry.
So it's awful. I'm getting beat up on my own stream.
Well, that's, looks can be deceiving.
Wow.
Sounds can be deceiving.
Cool. So we're going to talk about laundromats and Danny and me and all that stuff. So if you guys are watching this stream and you actually want to get some information on how do you do the laundromat thing, this is the podcast for you. If you guys want to watch Delicious Dollars and me count money through the podcast, well, this podcast is for you. If you just want me to give you a one-word answer on how to do it, and then I'm going to come in and make all your hopes and dreams come true, that's probably not going to happen. Hate to do it, guys.
If you've got 2 solid hours, we're ready to go. This is it.
So, all right.
Are you going to ask questions? Are you going to let them ask questions, or are we just going to?
I mean, it'd be kind of silly. It'd be kind of silly if we didn't let anybody ask questions.
Not to.
So all right.
You're terrible at this.
I know I am because I feel so inadequate sitting here at a desk next to Danny.
Oh, boy.
So, tell me about how you got started, your life, and how you got started in laundromats. I'm going to flip the phone around to Danny here so everybody can see.
Well, those are two separate things. I'm 51 years old, 3 teenage daughters, lovely, fantastic, highly intelligent wife. Life is very, very good. I ran off to the Navy when I was a child over a girl. Don't even remember her name anymore. So that started, for me, the real adult big boy pants stuff. Hated every minute of it. Signed up for another 2 years in the middle of it all so that I could have a better job where I blew up more stuff. And it's almost like prison for a lot of folks where you're thinking, okay, I'm taking orders from someone that I do respect because of rank, but I don't really understand why they have it. And the entire time, essentially, I was thinking about what I would do when that was over with. Consuming books. I had always been a ravenous reader, comic books when I was a kid. And at that point, it was all business books. I love films too, and we'll talk about that later, but Wolf of Wall Street type of stuff. At some point, when I got out, I ended up having tons of good jobs, what were considered good. Well, we could go back further. The earth cooled, the dinosaurs came. I was never really comfortable talking about the truth of my upbringing. I think my dad is what hindered me from those discussions, and he passed a couple of years ago. You don't have to say you're sorry because it wasn't your fault. Cigarettes killed him, not you. And Lou D'Angelo taught me a lot. He taught me how to negotiate. He taught me where to punch people, all the important stuff that a dad should do. But he wasn't business savvy. He was a freelance pharmacist. That's come out recently. It's not something you want to say about your dad while he's alive. And great guy. Always struggled, never really had anything put away. But the pharmacy, that did well for him. I'm starting to have memories wash back to me, but very early, they got divorced when I was 13, and that was fine with me. I remember my mom talking to the school about how it was going to affect my mental ability and my acuity and all that. It was fine. The screaming stopped. It was wonderful. I think that's why I have such a great relationship with my wife. I didn't want any of that. I didn't want the kids to hear it. But being middle class, not us. 6 months of homelessness. My mom's still around. She's probably not watching these channels. But the truth is, she was great at it. When we lived in one horrific, disgusting apartment after the next, when she talks to my aunt about what they did for us, my sister and I, eating peanut butter and crackers so that we could not know any better. But then there was that summer where my sister turned 17 and moved away, and my mom lost the apartment. And I realized a couple of years ago that we were homeless, and it turned into a summer vacation. That was my mom. We're in a rented car. We're going the Pacific Coast Highway, and I always wanted to surf. So she brought me to some friends that taught me how to surf. That was what I remember that summer as being. But then the veneer started to crack, and I realized we never stayed in a hotel. We certainly didn't stay in a resort. And the rented car was a friend's borrowed hatchback. And I remember the police in Beverly Hills knocking on the glass and waking us up more than once, because my mom wanted us to stay in nice places in the street. Very small part of my life, something that I barely remember. But again, when you get to be my age, you sort of have to search for those memories. So yeah, okay, been homeless. Most of it middle class. But my first real job, I think everybody that's a hustler will tell you they sold candy. They realized that the drama club was selling candy. So wait a minute, I could literally take the same candy that we're selling for 50 cents that they somehow get for a quarter and go buy it for 50 cents and sell it for 75. Anyway, of course I did that. But the real first hustle, when we moved to Glendale, Arizona, the armpit of Arizona, Maricopa's probably worse. I noticed that in the neighborhood, they have those little numbers on the street signs. on the curb,
Mm-hmm.
and they were wearing out. And so we had Metal Shop back then, boys and girls. So I grabbed my little toolbox that I made in Metal Shop. I probably stole it actually from my dad's garage, but black paint, white paint, blue paint. I only had 3 colors. And I bought a set of stencils. And you know what I did? I knocked on doors.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite doors were the ones that had the little sign that said, "Do not apply,"
No soliciting.
"In God we trust, all others must pay." Yeah, no soliciting. And that was my favorite door. And the folks would open the door and look at me. "Can you read the sign?" "Oh, absolutely. I didn't know I woke up in Russia this morning, ma'am." And they'd slam the door, and I would become stronger for it. So I charged $5. If they wouldn't pay $5, I'd charge $3. What do I care? And I think I made $200 the second week doing that. The first day was a bit of a blur, but that was my gig. That was my thing. Nobody ever showed up and tried to knife fight me or tried to take my territory away. It wasn't that kind of thing. But I'm just starting to remember this kind of stuff. And literally from listening to you and listening to some of your earlier stories, you kind of think like, yeah, I did that, but what?
Yeah.
Fast forward after the Navy, lots of jobs, bank teller, a merchant teller, good jobs, really good jobs, where most of the people were 45 years old and I'm 20, in my 20s, and I'm looking around saying, why are they doing this? How are they satisfied with this? An old man used to come into the laundromat literally with a laundry cart full of dollar bills. You and I understand this well. And it was banded hundreds, and they would deposit $9,800 one week, $9,400 the next. It was always under 10 grand, avoiding the CTR, avoiding the currency transaction report. So I remembered that. I would become a licensed private investigator. I would run a team, an office full of people. I had, again, lots of good careers, but started to do real estate, didn't dabble, took it seriously, saw the crashes coming, started buying properties in Mexico. Scary, right? Well, I'm still not fearful. We have a penthouse down there now and a boathouse, and it's paid off. It's free and clear. Rent it out. Trust me, life is good. The laundromat thing happened a little over 20 years ago, and I was thinking I really want to screw myself up and get into some brick and mortar. I want to be more like my dad. I want to, not the drug dealing part, but I want to, he was always a handyman, always a hustler. Moved from New York to Arizona where the licensing's too hard, so he became a handyman. I digress. I'm good at that. I wanted to own a business, and I thought back to that dude that brought in that cash. And I started looking into laundries. There was nothing. There was no information. How much does a coin laundry cost? How much should I be spending on a lease? I found a broker. I bought a laundromat for $250,000. It was worthless. I was clueless. I remember the day I was collecting coin in there. My dad was a locksmith, so I'm the son of a locksmith, a handyman. I had a key ring as big as your head, and I'm trying to pull these boxes out. I didn't know which key went to what. I also couldn't understand why this man had all these keys. Well, it was because attrition, years and years of neglect, and he had a ton of coin boxes. That was the turning point when I said, okay, do I sell this laundromat that I don't know what the hell I'm doing with for the same I paid or more, or do I fix this one problem and every problem that is to come after it? Well, I chose the latter. I closed the store for the first and only time ever. I went and turned that store. To this day, the store has a key to the washers, a key to the dryers, a key to the change machines. And I would change every problem that way. In a way without a drawing board that I said, how can I fix this problem? With employees, that I use a contract attendant, with cash or card, all of the questions that I needed to answer because no one else was out there talking about it. I would build that store with my next door by calling a landlord in a nasty store. Peoria, Arizona. I started building an empire of laundromats. All the way to Scottsdale, Tempe, basically the entire state. Now, my exit, because eventually you tire of a thing, almost whatever that thing is. So my exit was to sell those stores for tens of millions of dollars and not exit the industry because I didn't feel comfortable exiting the industry. People were already asking me at cocktail parties, like-minded professionals, intelligent people. My wife's a stockbroker at the time, so we had some pretty cool friends and pretty vested people in money, in finance. And they wanted to lean forward and hear about laundries. They didn't care about the other stuff. They wanted to hear about laundromats. My PI days, no big deal. How do you hide? That's the only question. And I thought, there's something here. There's a niche here. So at the time, it was a DVD. I always liked making videos, so I started building a course. And this is almost 20 years ago, kids. So this is before everybody, no offense, Brandon, but folks, it's all about the course for this, the course for that, the course for the other thing. And I have been I own a shooting range. I've got plenty of commercial and residential property. All that stuff it's on autopilot. And what I love is pulling people out of the stratosphere that are interested and intrigued in owning coin laundries in rented space and teaching them how to do it and do it for free. And how is it free? Nothing's free. In a nutshell, I'll tell you the secret. Scout existing laundromats, knowing what you're looking for and at. Right? Nasty stores. They're everywhere. I don't care if you live in Ottumwa, Iowa, LA, or New York. When you find those nasty stores, you're not going to buy the laundromat. You're not going to offer anything for the business rights or the infrastructure or the existing equipment. You're going to go to the landlord. Sign a lease with said landlord. Now you've got a free business. Rent abatement, you've never heard of it. It exists. Now you own this business, you've got to retool it. You retool it using other people's money the same way anyone would. Now, fast forward to the 51-year-old me, I know that billionaires don't use their own money. I know that. I know that millionaires don't use their own money. And I famously said many times, the poor spend money, the middle class save it, and the rich invest it. And the caveat to that is many times the rich aren't even investing their own money. That's a long version of the story, and you could tell the story how you found me and how it kind of wraps together, because I just want to get to the good stuff about what we do for fun and how you've got this whole team that is built, which is, to me, just astounding. I love anybody that is in the universe of building an empire astounds me. And maybe you're like me. I love films. Like I said, if you throw business into that movie, it doesn't always have to be a business film. It's certainly not being put on by the local high school or college. But Wolf of Wall Street, even Goodfellas, that's like a great movie about business. It truly is. So everybody here's a creative, and the team you've put together is fantastic. I enjoy hanging out with your interns, your paid people, giving them the razz, and it's been a lot of fun.
That's good. So
Brandon's my friend.
There we go. That's what I want to hear. So that's Danny D'Angelo. That's the king of laundromats. If you've ever, if you Google, and that's how my run-in with him is, how do you build a laundromat? Prior to me going viral on YouTube and social media and whatnot, Danny was the only guy that had any information whatsoever. And I mean, anybody that's out in cyberspace internet can correct me if I'm wrong, but it was him. You get on Google, you get on YouTube. I want to say Alliance, the company that actually makes Speed Queen washers, Speed Queen and Hipsch and a couple others. They had some really weird branding videos. Call us if you want to start a laundromat. That's not true. Their contact form's broken. The number's dead. I'm telling you, because I did that. I went to all the laundry distributors when I went viral. I was like, hey, you want to work out a backroom deal? You want to give me some money and I'll put your washer in my laundromat? And I couldn't even get them to respond to anything. I called the numbers, whatever, didn't work. Anyway, Danny's the guy. When you would Google or look for information, he had all the information there. I bought my laundromats, as most of you guys understand, with no money down. I ran the Trippy's laundromat, the one that we do all the videos on, TikToks, YouTube, short form content, whatever. I ran into the lady that owned it. Her son owned the laundromat. He died. She inherited it from her son, which is insane. She was going to the bank every month depositing $8,000 freaking dollars worth of quarters. She had to have people from, I guess, help her down the stairs. And I was like, this is the life.
Did she live upstairs?
No, she didn't. She would take the quarters upstairs. At one point, she finally left him in the on the first floor in the back where the old dryers used to be, and she'd bring him down the stairs. And she only wanted like 50 grand for the laundromat, which is like $50,000. I can do math in my head. She's wanting 50 out of it. She's making $8,000 a month. You know, these are really good numbers. I should look to do something about it. Ended up, I couldn't get the laundromat. Guy bought it out from under me for $35,000, which, you know, I was willing to pay 50 for it. He got it for 35 because he's a member of the community and I guess less hillbilly than I am. He drives a Porsche. I don't. So maybe that was the difference. So he ended up buying for it. He couldn't make a run for it. He couldn't do anything. And I went in and negotiated a deal with the guy. And I said, why don't you just give me the laundromat? I'll make you payments over the course of time. Why don't you just give me the laundromat? And he said, no, but if you can come up with $15,000, I'll sell it to you. And I said, okay.
Meanwhile, you still think it made $8,000.
I still think it makes $8,000.
He believed it made $8,000.
Yes.
When he bought it for $35,000,
and he was making
and then he realized
$700 a month.
Yeah. Then he realized that she was full of it, and
she wasn't though. Here's where the thing was: when she was operating it, no one else had a close laundromat. Bright and clean down the street, they had not retooled. They were in crummy shape. There were no laundromats. Well, in between her, it was closed down for like 2 years. There's a time span on my laundromat where it was closed down for 2 years. They lost all their customers. So when smart break guy Brandon comes in, I have to build it up from no customer base whatsoever. It's almost like a brand new store, like starting where there's no customers.
Right.
And as time goes on, I've been getting the customers back. Fast forward to Danny showing up and saying, hey, you're an idiot, Brandon. You need to put new equipment in here. You need to retool. You need to repaint the place. You need to do advertising that makes sense. And now, you know, on TikTok, YouTube, I try to be transparent as much as I can. And we started off, before he came on board, we were doing 2,500-ish a month. And this month of June, we still got 1 day left. We're at 52, 50 something-ish, and we were down there and we got some more money. And this will have to go in on the count for it. So we've almost doubled our gross revenue. And we still haven't followed Danny's plan with knocking out walls and putting in more equipment, because I was getting scared of getting new equipment. And
the bottom line, look, you're the number one influencer on the planet with laundromats, whether you like it or not. And my advice was to shut that store down. It's just too small.
Yeah.
And part of understanding that, part of knowing that, look, you'll have a distributor. In your case, you did, who shall remain nameless, who will come in and say, okay, you've got your head strong. You want to retool this store, meaning put new equipment in. Yeah. You're ahead of the game because the infrastructure is here. With laundromats, there's no brand loyalty. No one cares.
Yeah.
We were there today, and I was asked, hey, do you know Brandon? People in the laundromat didn't know Brandon. Folks at home do. But I've been grappling with this issue that you are very transparent. You talk about the numbers that you can earn. Meanwhile, I put a gentleman in a store in Connecticut probably 12 years ago, and he sends me a bottle of scotch every Christmas, and he calls me up last month and says, we are grossing $55,000 a month. That's the reality of what the business is. But you can't simply jam more equipment into a 900 square foot space and earn. But listen, Brandon, I get it. You are first and foremost a YouTuber. I understand that. And it's just that those numbers are hard because you are a guy that's telling the truth. We both know people in common that have 40 plus stores. We both understand that they are doing very, very well, and they have made certain that I'm not going to throw numbers out in reference to what they earn, but it's serious do-re-mi. And I don't know, I'd love to see you, as much as you attack real estate, as much as you attack the car washes, to go after more laundry. So stay tuned, because there is a store in town that is up for grabs, and I'm pretty sure that this guy doesn't pay any attention to social media. People still do that, where they don't care, and they should. So we shall see. Yeah. Because when you're raking in, I mean, it's 3,000 square feet. There's no set numbers, guys. Don't let anybody tell you that if it's X, it should be earning Y. There's no reality to that, because they can't tell you the asses in the seats. Nobody's going to know how many people are going to come in. Turns per day. That machine might not turn once on a Tuesday. It might turn 8 times on a Sunday. So that equates what? 1 turn a day. Yeah. And those are the numbers that these distributors. My website says I'm the most hated man in the industry. I'm not hated by you or the folks at home. I'm hated by the industry. Yeah. Because I'm not supposed to tell these truths. And look, this is funny because it's just a blip on the radar. As far as the real numbers, would you rather have $5,000 a month than not in cash? Sure you would. Of course, without a doubt. 30 grand a month? Yeah, that's for many people that's life-changing. Now do that times 30.
Yeah.
If you can get a store for free and retool it with other people's money, yeah, it's happening. I've got tons of, all I did was testimonials, by the way. I've been on YouTube since 2006. This man taught me that you have to monetize your channel. I didn't understand it. I really didn't care. I didn't understand it. Now I don't know. I do. But $500 a month with a YouTube channel, it's like, that's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah. And that's kind of the interesting thing. And yeah, Danny does not have a TikTok. We just have a question whether Danny has a TikTok. And he doesn't at this moment, but he will probably.
My daughter does.
By the time he gets back to Arizona. His daughter does. Daniela_D'Angelo, I think, on TikTok.
Daniela D'Angelo.
Okay.
She's a competitive.
Yeah, she's a competitive sports shooter.
Yeah.
So she's on there. She's pretty cool.
I'll build a TikTok, everybody. Brandon has there's a give and take with Brandon and I will TikTok. I will twerk. And we'll figure it out.
And unlike me, Danny's willing to twerk for attention on YouTube. Or sorry, TikTok and everything. We will be answering questions. I see some TikTok questions like, answer
Eli,
my question.
You can move around if you feel
Answer
like
my questions. Does Danny's stream have any questions, Eli? No. I'm sure there are.
I've only got 15,000 measly people.
You've got 15,000
I love you all, everybody. Feel free to drop some questions.
Let me read through TikTok questions real quick. What about supplies for running the laundromat? I mean,
what about it?
I mean, they're easy to get. Amazon freaking sells side tote.
So I can speak on a lot of those things, and I don't mind. Supplies. So you're going to sell soap and bleach and the like, but I use contract attendants, and we actually started a video series with Brandon about that this week. And I'm winging my way back to Phoenix, actually Cave Creek, Arizona tomorrow. But that's a great question, honestly, because what you're doing with contract attendants is you provide them their first go-round, and you're going to give them essentially a really good mop bucket, tons of mop heads, everything they need to do the job. You're not going to use paper towels, not in an industrial space, so you give them a bunch of good towels. Thanks for the days in, because I just got a whole new supply. Give them the towels, but vinegar is the key. Give them vinegar. If you give them bleach as a contract attendant, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to use it to do wash. But vinegar and water is fantastic. I grew up poor. Yeah. You don't need Windex.
That's what my family uses. I guess we're still poor because we still use vinegar for everything.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. It's better.
Yeah. We're getting some questions. One person on TikTok wants to know about using a franchise for laundry. I'm sure Danny will give you his opinion, but I have not heard anything good. It's good for the company that owns a franchise, but I haven't heard anything good.
Well, what's your opinion of franchises in the first place, Brandon? What's your opinion of franchises, period?
In general, if it's a good industry to get into and they've got enough support, then it makes sense. But from my understanding, the problem is the franchises are essentially run by manufacturers or distributors.
Well, you're talking about laundromats, and I'm talking about generally speaking.
Generally speaking, I'm fine with franchises.
Okay.
If you can get a Chick-fil-A, you're fine. If you can get a Subway, not so much anymore.
If you make a better chicken sandwich than Chick-fil-A, okay, let's just pick on here in Southern Ohio, right? Mm-hmm. If you truly, I mean, this sandwich is gold, all right? Your grandma's butter sauce recipe. If you like Chick-fil-A, I'm telling you, you eat this thing and you hear harp music, all right? It's fantastic. We're not doubting that your product is the best ever. Are you going to be able to compete with Chick-fil-A? That's a different thing, all right?
Absolutely.
So maybe not bad. However, let's talk about McDonald's. Billions sold. McDonald's is what? A real estate company. We've all seen the Ray Kroc story. Different animal. You cannot own a McDonald's and actually own the McDonald's. They own the dirt. So what do you have? You truly have a lengthy lease. I want to say that you're wrong. I want to say that, first of all, who the hell wants to run a restaurant? No, thank you. 5% profit in the first 20? Okay. So take restaurants, strike them off of your list. Other than that, the only reason to run a franchise, in my humble opinion, is because you don't know what the F you're doing.
Yeah.
You don't know how to run a business. And I think the best thing about franchises, advertising. Because I just mentioned McDonald's, you mentioned Chick-fil-A. So you're watching a NASCAR vehicle run around the track making a bunch of left turns, and it says McDonald's on it. You're all proud because that's your NASCAR, right? I don't know what, I'm a Formula One fan. But that's not real. That's not what you want. Why would you get into restaurants? Different story. Franchises, you're right. You're giving a fee. Now, you asked about what about franchising a laundromat? Why would you do that? When this gentleman and I are sitting here talking to you about how I've got successful stories and students in almost all 50 states, 28 other countries. I didn't know this would work in Guam, in Puerto Rico, in Poland. I've been written up in several financial directories in Poland, which I don't even understand. One of them is Forbes, and that I got. I can't read language, but I've been written up in Forbes because my student has, I think, 11 stores now.
Oh, wow.
His
That's
Facebook's amazing. And he did not pay for them. So the point is, I don't care if you have money. Brandon knows a few billionaires. I know some. I've got them on speed dial. It's great fun. X Insurance. And at the end of the day, they don't use their own money for investments. It's got to be phenomenal for them to actually, they use their credit for investments. So a franchise and a laundromat, which is an all-cash business, come on. It's a fairly new thing. 10 years ago, I could tell you it had been tried and failed, and now they're trying it again. There's a few that do it. So you've got folks that come into a meeting and they say, hey, just give us a $50,000 franchise fee, and then you're going to give us X%. You know what else about those stores? How can they possibly keep track of the money?
Yeah.
Because it's a cash business. That's the way they should be run, as cash businesses. So every franchise store runs on debit.
Yeah.
Or it runs on a card reader system. So the franchise, the mothership, can get their cut, right? But you don't want the card systems.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll get that question later.
Yeah. And going back to the cards, maybe this is a preemptive on cards. It's why I like using money in my laundromat. And this is what we got here. This is like a day or two. To preempt the question on why I don't take cards, and I'm not saying that it doesn't make a ton of sense till you have scale.
Yeah.
If you had a dozen laundromats, it makes sense to put credit card, not only credit card readers, but hybrid readers, taking coins, taking cards at the same time. But if you would sit on my laundromat and you ask my customers, hey, we're thinking of ripping out all of the quarters here. We're going to go to debit cards, and we're going to charge you a fee every time you use it. And you have to have the money on your card to use it. You want to do that? I've already pulled my customers. 60% of my customers would leave. Now, I'm happy that this money here puts us over $6,000 for the month on laundromat. So this should put us right over $6,000 this month for the laundromat. If I cut my sales by 40%, I'm at $3,600. I have started the whole business over again. Yet, when you talk to companies that are providing equipment, as much as I like it's neat that my washers have these trunnions or whatever that are sitting in them that are thicker than cars. That's cool. I like it. But the fact that they want you to install Google Pay and Apple Pay as your sole method to start a washer and dryer, it's like, this is not a good thing.
Well, listen, you're talking from the consumer's perspective, and that's fantastic. Most laundromat operators don't even think about the customer. They just don't. They want to get into the business for one reason. They don't want to serve anyone. They don't want to serve their community. They don't want to serve the customer. They want to serve themselves. They have nicknames for their customers. There are many of those. But let's just back up. You can talk to a salesman who's going to sell you a card reader system for an hour, and he will talk about how great it is for you, the laundromat operator. Mm-hmm. All true. He'll talk to you till he's blue in the face about how this card system is going to allow you to have more time. You don't have to deal with dirty money. All true. He'll tell you how easy it is to audit that store. Absolutely correct. He'll talk for 3.5 hours and buy you a slice of pizza, and he'll tell you how this system is going to allow you to charge 70 cents on a slow Tuesday, and that'll draw more customers in. That's speculative, but true. Now, what did he not mention even once? You just said it, the customer. They don't bother mentioning the actual dipshit that's going to come in and do laundry, because why does it matter? So you have to think of that. Let's go even deeper. You're going to take and spend an extra, by the way, why is he talking up this system so much?
Because it cost me $15,000 to remodel Brandon's little laundromat.
Oh, that's
in Southern
nothing.
Ohio.
It's going to be $90,000. It doesn't matter if your store is 900 square feet or 9,000. The units that go on the wall that sell the cards.
Oh, yeah, with the card kiosk.
So
I forgot about
you're,
that.
You're taking a $90,000 system. Figures aren't gospel, but they're pretty damn close. Yeah. And you're putting it into what? What is the enemy of computers? Noah, what's the enemy of computers? Heat.
Now, Noah, I got a question. Do computers like water?
No. Moisture, thank you. And dirt. The best IBMs back in the 50s, they were in some sealed room, and people had to go in there with rubber gloves and hats, right?
Yeah.
Sealed system. Cold rooms.
There you go.
What do you think a laundromat makes? It makes heat with the dryers. It makes moisture with all of the washers throwing tons of moisture into the air. Most of the good drain systems are open troughs. Yeah. So if you're in Ohio and it's July, you're going to have plenty of moisture. And the third is lint, which is everywhere. Yeah. So the three enemies, and guess what? When I first started doing this, and I myself considered cards, I consulted with a couple in San Francisco who lost their 2 laundromats because they were both card systems. The system went down. They couldn't afford to pay any of the bills and lost the stores. Yeah. So don't do it.
Yeah.
And I feel those emails all the time from people that say, hey, Danny, your system must be old because you keep talking about how card systems don't work or shouldn't be implemented. You're right. You need to figure out how to use it. When you've got the problem of pulling in $500,000 a month net in cash, it's probably time to consider cards. Yeah. But I don't know anyone that just goes cards, and that's also very telling. Sorry, I could go on and on. I'd rather talk about fun stuff.
So I want to take some questions from TikTok real quick. User 7 says they're more of a spender than an investor. Well, if you want to be rich, you got to invest your money. Navy Vet asks, what funding is available for purchasing laundromats? Danny Danny has a whole course on it, but there's a lot of ways to finance laundromats.
You're not going to buy a laundromat.
The easiest way is to go in and negotiate a lease, take a crappy place over. Don't do it with any of your own money. When I financed all the equipment, which if you do this right, you're going to have to pay a finance fee. My finance fee was $2,995.
But you're talking about equipment. Everything. You didn't buy the laundromat. So Navy Vet, okay. So, what was your rating, Navy Vet? You better write it down for me.
Okay.
I ended EOD. So I can't read it. Okay. All right. It's a phenomenal question. He's asking about something which, again, is moot. Where can I get financing to buy a laundromat? You can't. No endemic financing exists to buy or build a laundromat. All right. Now, I want to be careful because I speak in a lot of absolutes. If you have $5 million in cash, just about any bank will give you $5 million to start your Braille dartboard company. They just will. They'll look at your business plan, which is essentially written on the back of a cocktail napkin, and they'll say, we love it. Sounds great. Because they know that they have recourse. Yeah. All right. Short of that, Navy Vet, Swabby, Shipmate, there is no endemic financing to buy or build a laundromat. Should that scare you? Like, well, banks are smart. Banks know. Try to go to Chase or Wells Fargo or any of these banks or even your local Navy Federal Credit Union, and they're going to laugh you out of the place. Why? Because so many laundromats fail. And even the good ones will eventually fail if they don't keep the retools up. This is where we come in. This is where I come in. It's not a system. It's not a course. It's the fact that if you want to get into laundromats, you're not going to be able to finance anything but the equipment purchase, which Brandon is talking about. And you do that, it's a secret. You do that through the manufacturer of the equipment. My car loan is 0%. I like nice things. I like to drive brand new vehicles without any hassle. And I only buy at 0. So it's the same thing. Only the manufacturer can give you a 0% loan. Come on, guys. You're going to act like you've never heard of a 0% loan? You have television. It's on right now.
Yeah.
Ford is doing it.
That's exactly who came.
The new F-150 now through the 4th of July, 0% for qualified buyers.
Yes.
No money down. Come on down to Ray Burge Ford. Okay. You may not listen because you're not in the market for a car, or maybe you drive dad's jalopy. God bless you. You keep it running with spit and vinegar. Here's the thing. You have to listen to everything finance. I see a hot blonde in a Ferrari driving down the freeway. I look at her and I say, where did she get the money for that car? I think about, like Brandon, the way that money flows like arteries.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at anything else, Shelley. I don't know where I was going with that, but I'm passionate about laundromats, believe it or not, and the way that I've put single moms into stores, doctors, lawyers, engineers who knew nothing about business because they went to college, they got a great degree, they got what they thought was a great job, and having been doing this for so long that those types of folks were reaching out early on, and I said, yeah, absolutely, I can speak with authority how to do this. Don't buy it. Hence the hatred from the industry. No spitting hate outwardly, but in quiet corners. Oh, that doesn't work. You can't get anything for free. Okay. I took a break here 20 minutes before we got on, and I sent back 3 letters of intent for my clients. Oh, wow. That's an LOI, which you're going to send out to the landlord. Those are from calls I made Monday and Tuesday. Those may not lead to laundries, but the preponderance of them do. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Yeah. I'm not sorry.
Hopefully that's not too complicated of an answer, but it's kind of a quick rundown. I mean, if all that sounds like gibberish to you, it's one of those things where you've got to get into the point of consuming more content, getting yourself more educated on money, finance, business, so that he said SH1. What's that mean?
SH1?
Yeah, is that
I think it's a video channel on MTV.
Okay. I didn't know if that was a rank inside the Navy or not.
I'm sorry. I had no idea what you're talking about.
Sorry. It's Navy Vet 018. He responded SH1. So
there's so many ratings. So I honestly, I'm not sure what that equates to. He's not a bosun's mate.
Sorry.
First class.
Danny is lost.
If I had a really good guy like Noah, he could type it in and say, put it on the big board.
Someone asked me how much money I make. Does anybody know how much money I made last year off just social media? I'm asking this for both TikTok and YouTube. Supply division is what Navy Vet said. SH1 supply division. Okay. Because I've done a bunch of videos on this. So my next, since you guys are watching live, since we started the laundromat, we just broke $130,000 gross, not net. My net of the laundromat's like 35%. So since the laundromat started in 2 years, I've probably put in my pocket, excluding appreciation and the wonderful tax write-offs, because my laundromat is a wonderful tax write-off. Mm-hmm. In 2021, we'll probably write off $75,000 off the laundromat.
So you're talking about inside baseball and what people may not understand in business. You go to the hardware store and you buy a Sledgehammer. Mm-hmm. You write it off. Yeah. Because you have a business, you needed the Sledgehammer where? I don't know, the laundromat, whatever the business makes sense. You've got an office space here. So when you're picking up reams of legal pads, and that's fantastic. I started a firearms training company just so that I could write off all of the fun shooting that I do with my daughter. It's just what smart money does. Again, when a hobby starts to get out of control, you turn it into a business, and the government lets you lose money on that and offset it in your taxes, depending on what it is. With laundry equipment, 7 years. Yeah. So industrial equipment is really good.
Yeah. And that's I write off money on my taxes. I'm making maybe $35,000 a year, $30,000 before appreciation. The real estate the laundromat sets on it last year, because of the market being crazy, real estate in Chillicothe, Ohio rate went up 20%. The real estate's worth probably, because of the location, around $200,000. So I gained $40,000 in equity on that property. And I have to sell it, or I have to cash out refi it. It's
a rudimentary question that people want to ask you. How much money did you make? And on one side of the table, you've got Brandon Schlichter, who is happy to answer that question. Over here, I'm like, no, I'm sorry.
And Danny doesn't want to, and to clarify something, Danny doesn't want to talk about how much laundromats make, because he knows people like me, and I'm at the lowest echelon.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that what I earn with I invest in things, but what are you really investing in when you purchase something and you hold it forever? This is something for my kids. Yeah. If it tells time, and it also appreciates in value, that's great. You're able to double dip on that item. You're not going to buy a new Cadillac and hope to make money on it. If you put it up on blocks and whatever the 16-year-old kids want today, there are speculators who buy cars, and they do that. But it's going to have to be something fairly special, unique, or in limited numbers. Anyway, I digress. What I was saying is you are happy to talk about that. And I think when people say, how much money do you make? It's just a base question that they want you to say $4 million a year, you know, and really you are extremely open and honest with what YouTube makes. Yeah. This guy spawned 19 YouTube channels. Do the math. Like he said, I was the only one when he started looking. October 28th, 2019, he posted a video that said, how much money does my laundromat make, guys? And 4 million hits later, now everybody's like, oh, how hard could it be? I have a laundromat and an iPhone.
I am smarter than this hillbilly in Southern Ohio. I can shoot videos about my laundromat.
Hell yeah.
And unfortunately,
spit some hate on all those people.
And unfortunately,
right
I got car wash copycats. Car Wash Chronicles is not included in this. I'm mostly a little bit salty about the car wash people on TikTok.
Yeah.
Because we've got a couple.
Well, you know what? I think that I know that you and I have become friends even in the very beginning when we had a conversation. Brandon reached out as a businessman. He said, man, I'm fielding 100 emails a week about how to operate laundries, and I don't think I'm even good enough to answer those. And I appreciated that. And I said, well, I don't do affiliate marketing. That was the beginning of it. It was a rocky beginning, but that's me. It's part of, I'm not looking for every low-hanging fruit. And I'm not putting you in that category, but I think that was the only way it could happen. Yeah. Because you didn't try to find someone else or a distributor or a conglomerate that could work with you and build a course from scratch. And I think that's very telling. And with Chris, Car Wash Chronicles, it was the same thing where you go, hey, this is my friend. I like this kid. And he's not going to crush your mojo because he's in Southern California.
Yeah, he's fine. I like him. I watch his content.
You're off the hook, Chris.
There you go. I do get salty about some people that are doing other content.
You have to. You know, that you don't have to give them any attention whatsoever. But trust me, I don't think they deserve to take your time, take your energy. Yeah. And I've learned that. In all aspects of your life, whether it's somebody cutting you off in traffic or somebody mentioning you on YouTube, it's not worth your time. Yeah.
I was going to say, even that guy that came to the laundromat to beat on my coin changer with a sledgehammer.
I know that's not real.
I'm not even mad at him either.
I know it's not real. You're the clickbaitiest guy I know.
But I got video of it.
Guy with a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
So, all right, come on. Why isn't Noah reading these?
Yeah.
Noah, spit these out,
do you have an active microphone right now, Noah? No.
Well, that's okay. We can hear him.
Okay.
You have to repeat the question.
I have to repeat the question inside YouTube so it goes on the record for people that only listen to me.
Okay, guys. I'll be Brandon. Throw me $500 so that I can buy a new microphone for poor Noah.
Yeah. Well, what part of the city is the best place to put a laundromat?
Don't do it. I don't care if your city doesn't have a laundromat. Don't do it. If you want to have a laundromat in your city, I'm sorry. If you want to make money from a laundromat, the question is, where should I put a laundromat? If you build a laundromat, you're going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars before we get into environmental impact fees, what we call TAP fees, TAP, right? So California, for instance, every time you put a washing machine in a residential neighborhood, you sink a hole in the ground, the environmentalists come out of the woodwork, the city, the state. The feds don't get involved yet, but they say, California, San Diego County, $7,400. So it might as well be $8,000 for every washer. Now, if you're buying a $700,000, $800,000 home, the developer is going to put that into the cost of the home, and it's just going to be a blip on the radar. You're not even going to notice that in the line item. However, try to build a laundromat in your town. You'll find out real quick, maybe the environmental impact fee is only $500 per machine or only $5,000 per machine. You're not going to do it. So my point being, this partnership, Brandon and I, has been going on for a long time. That 4 million hit video, you could click on that and he would filter you to my course. We've been doing that together for a long time. And now I've partnered with him in all of this. So that I'll tell you what, anybody on here asks a question about laundries I can't answer and answer in toto, I'll give everybody on here my course. It won't happen. So your question, not meaning to be rude because this is not my channel, but it doesn't matter. It's moot. You're not going to build a laundromat.
Yeah.
If you have
300,000,
no, even then. So you've got 300 grand to lose building the infrastructure. Great. Now you're going to do what? Go to the distributor and say, hey, I just built a laundromat. Can I have the equipment, please? Well, that's another story, but now you're another $400K if you pay retail. And you've got yourself $1 million laundromat. It's a phenomenal business if you get into it properly. Cool. I've got Joe, who's probably on my channel, 4 stores in Los Angeles. It's ridiculous money. Takes time, takes energy, takes effort, like anything. But if you do your research, you're not going to get into any business and just go hog wild. Like you said, if you had millions to lose is different.
I mean,
when your gram dies, your gram leaves you $500,000, and then she's rolling in her graves on a spit because you lost it all. Not happy.
Okay, so we had a couple questions both on TikTok and YouTube about the course. What we're talking about the course at investmentjoy.com. And when I say it's course, it's a combined education. There's over 20 hours worth of content. There's 200 plus videos on topics, not just laundromats, but how do you start a car wash? How do you get the money to start a car wash? How do you take over a laundromat? How do you determine whether the laundromat location's good? For my car wash content, how do you look at traffic patterns? How do you find your State Department of Transportation? Tell you how many northbound cars there are. They're going to see your sign in the front of your car wash. Are there trees blocking your sign? How do you get the money? How do you write a private mortgage on it? How do you do SBA financing for the brick and mortar location for a car wash? If you want to buy an apartment complex, how do you buy one with 3%, 3.5% or less? How do you go in? How do you use a USDA loan to acquire property? All of that information's at investmentjoy.com. The price is dependent on what you want because the course, the highest package, if you want it, it's also bundled with 12 months, 1 full year of Zoom calls with me, and I'm sure we'll get Danny on some of those Zoom calls as well to do live training. And then
if they sign up for a consultation call right now today with one of your cash consults, we'll answer the phone. You and I will tag team them. We'll be right here.
If we end this stream at 5:30, we could definitely take a couple calls.
What do you have to leave at 6 o'clock again?
I have to leave at 6. I have to leave at 6.
I come all the way here. I fly 4,000 miles.
Blame my wife.
I will.
I've got to go home so she can go to some.
Yeah, see, this is where the bullshit starts to come in. All right.
It's not BS. That's what I have to do. But
I'll miss you.
I was doing sales calls. Danny will be at my office till 2 o'clock in the morning with Noah.
Yes, we will. Again. IPA and IHOP, all the I's, and MFTGP.
How much money do I need in the bank to convince a landlord to get a lease?
Here we go. I'll read the question since it's for you.
All right.
How much money do I need in the bank to convince a landlord for a lease? That's for Brandon, isn't it? Well, a landlord for a lease, that could be either. I'll go first. Nothing. The preponderance of landlords in laundromats are mom and pop. So when you go to Walmart, you don't typically think, I'm assuming you don't think about who owns this building. There's always a sign in the corner of the building in the parking lot next to that RV that's been there strangely for 3 weeks with the smell coming from it. There's always a sign that says Allen, Stein, and Kirkfield, right? Call Dave Allen for lease info. That's not necessarily the the dirt owner, but it's the management company. So you don't notice these things. It's like fat kids in donut shops. You just don't know where they are. You don't know how to look for them. That's your landlord. That's your agent. That's the lease management company. So that's big. There's not usually a laundromat next to a Walmart. We're talking about laundromats that are in strip malls, Now, I'm not telling you, we've done takeovers in every shape and form, in where there's a dollar store and there's a Dollar General and there's a 99-cent store or other laundromat affiliated type of folks, okay? And that you're asking, what does the landlord want to see? This is a very fearful question. I think Brandon will agree. I'm afraid to do this because I don't have money in the bank.com. Well, the truth is, when you go to a landlord and you have a phenomenal, not a plan, you're not book smart, you're well spoken. You call that landlord and say, hello there, sir. In the background, you understand what you're looking at, what you're looking for. You understand that this laundromat has the 10 leading indicators of failure. It's busted up equipment. It's negative signage. There's a homeless guy that happens to be dead blocking your way in. You laugh, but it's true. So you're calling that landlord and saying, sir, this laundromat, no offense, is an utter blight on this community. And I am Bob. I am interested in signing a long-term lease with you and retooling that store. Now you're going to press a nerve. You're going to say, and bringing it back like a phoenix because there's a dead body there. Security is an issue, or the parking lot isn't lit at night, whatever the issue is. Or, sir, I scouted the store on Saturday, and it states clearly that they closed the doors at 8:30 p.m., but it was 11:45 and they were still open, and there was a homeless dance party happening. What is that landlord going to say? Well, Bob, sounds like you have a plan. What can we do together? You say, I want to sign a lease contingent on the exit of the current tenant. That'll be a 15-year term. Then I'm going to retool it. I'm going to light the parking lot. I'm going to shoo the homeless people out. If any of this scares you, do something else. When did that landlord ask me for my bank account? He didn't. Yep. He doesn't need to. And having done this with hundreds and hundreds of people in 29 countries, including the U.S., they don't ask for that. If they ask early on and they say, I'd like to see your financials, it's probably because you sent them an email and you didn't know how to communicate with them. Because if you email an agent and say, I'd like to lease this empty space on the corner of 4th and Main Street, expect to get back an email that says, show us your financials. They can't ask what you have in the bank, by the way. All you need is a good credit score. And if you think you need a good credit score to do anything, you're probably right. If you're jumping off of these feeds because you think you need a good credit score to do any of this, you're wrong. Because there's always ways around it. No one's looked at my credit in 15 years. No need. Is that too much answer? When you do real estate, how much money do you have to have in the bank for a landlord to be happy?
So Danny does lease negotiations. That's his bread and butter for laundromats. Inside my real estate stuff, I do something called master leases with options, which I'm sure Danny's shaking his head. He knows what one is. I was told by a guy, a CPA years ago, $250 is what you should put into them. And he said, because if you take a property over, you acquire real estate with zero, which I've done. One apartment complex, 2 houses, where the people I was negotiating against or with, or however you want to do it, the people I was negotiating on, they said, just take this property from me. I don't want it anymore. Both the locations, the apartment complex, the 2 houses all had the same thing. People were in them selling drugs. The landlord did not want to deal with someone selling heroin out of them. Like I think it was heroin in both places. I don't want to deal with someone selling heroin out of my place. They're selling dope. I don't want it. Just take the house from me. I call a buddy because we've already negotiated to lease the property and take the whole thing over. We lease it till I can buy it. I get the bank in the background to sign a release agreement saying, Brandon, just take it. Just don't lease the property. Just have the house, have the apartment complex. My CPA buddy said, Brandon, you need to put $250 in this because you go to file your taxes and you show that you took in this one house. We actually drove by it, but I should have pointed out. We'll sell it next month for $150,000. If you show on your taxes that you took this place over for no money, you have nothing in it. They're going to treat it as a gift. You go to sell it for $150,000, you're going to get taxed out the yin yang for it. But if you show at least $250 on it, they'll look at it and say, oh, that's Brandon's option agreement. That's his option fee.
That's such a phenomenal example of why you use people smarter than you. That's why you use CPA. I don't do my own taxes. I do clean my own pool because I'm not going to give somebody $80 a month to do something that I consider rudimentary. I don't do my own yard work, but that's a different story. It's 120 degrees in Phoenix right now.
Okay.
So a great example of hire people smarter than you, especially in the beginning. I've got tons of very successful clients, students who've done this with me, and then I find out years later they've got 4, 5, 6, 7 stores. And I'm like, hey, man, where's the love? I only negotiated your first lease because they learned the ropes. They understood it. It upsets me. I want to know what's going on. I'm a control freak, but good for them. My little ducklings have gone off and done it on their own. Next question.
There you go.
Are we ever going to get to the fun stuff?
What fun questions?
I don't know. Anything
What
that's
fun
not,
questions
anything
do you guys
that's
want
not
to hear?
laundromats.
I should count the money that's in front of me.
Oh, please don't.
Okay. It's because we went to Danny's
ASMR.
secret, hidden underground bunker safe full of things that demonetize the YouTube channel, and he brought $111,000 in cash. A lot of it $2 bills, which I was very excited about. But we had over $100,000 sitting on a
For the
chair.
record, I had the money there because I was moving it somewhere from place to place. It
He's
may have
moving it.
Yeah, it may have something to do with bullion or silver. So it was fortuitous. It was not going. I'm not a moron. I don't keep that kind of money at hand.
Yeah.
One of those things is true.
Yeah. Dave Ramsey just let out a really big sigh.
Yeah.
He's really upset that Danny doesn't keep $100,000.
Well, bullion and gold, everybody's free. The other day, I follow a couple YouTubers that do bullion, and for me, it's more of a hobby. But the reality is, okay, they just all these sanctions on Russia, which is just, hey, you're doing a bad thing. Let's whack your PP. We're not going to let you do the other things that you like to do that are safe and legal, such as sell gas and oil, right? Yeah, another story for another day. But they just dropped sanctions on their ability to sell their gold because they pull it out of the ground in Russia. It's huge there. It's like diamonds in Africa. Well, everyone was rushing to see what was going to happen. You know what happened? Nothing. And the reason is because gold is a safe haven. And when you understand that, when you invest in it, you're not hoping that it's going to go volatile. When you listen to Sheldon Devane talk about how it's going to double in the next, come on, that's not the point. If it was volatile, no one would be interested. You have to have safe haven assets. Your house that's paid off, you're a fool. You live in a paid off, I don't know, multi-million-dollar residence, you'd better leverage that property because all you're doing, all folks like Brandon and I do is move pen on paper. That's it. No one's asking you to dig a ditch. You want the course, you want to jump in, you want to, and this is not a sales call, most certainly not for me, but if you want to jump in on the course, just do it. No one here is asking you to risk life or limb. I think people that can look back at my age, I'm 51, I got probably another 7 years left in me before I die. You look back and you say, look, I made this move. I took $11,000. I turned it into a paid off condominium. I took another $11,000 in Mexico on a lot, turned it into $258,000. 2 years later, capital gains tax in Mexico are a real thing. They don't hand you a check without taking their cut. So you can't you might be able to marry a Mexican person, but beyond that, already married.
I guess they do the same thing kind of in the United States if you're a foreigner and you sell real estate.
Well, you can 1031 exchange it or do some hokey stuff, and down there it's like, no, we'll just take it and then let you decide what you might or might not do with it later.
Oh my goodness. Is that an OnlyFans
Let's start.
thing?
How much is the
You tell me how
ducktail
much
shirt?
this ducktail shirt's worth.
Hey, $80, $110, and that's a duck. Let me tell you about this ducktail shirt. It's the only one like it.
So
Smell like cat piss. Smell like a trailer park. You gonna want this here? Hey, $120, do I hear? Sold to the man in the white shirt. That's $150.
So Danny says, and all that, if you understood it, he wants $150 for my shirt.
I don't.
One of our questions, I've had it both on YouTube and TikTok, so I don't know if it's the same guy, but the question we have is, do we keep a maintenance guy on payroll or do we do it ourselves?
For what?
for laundromats. Let's say laundromats here.
Did you say this was going to be all about laundromats?
I don't know why people
folks.
really are interested about laundromats.
It is interesting. We talk about scalability, you hear that word a lot, and when you start, you had damn well better learn how to fix machines. If that scares you, it shouldn't. And I'm not going to pick on any one laborer or any one group of people, but look, read Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, right? That's actually a book about a psychotic, but different story. You crack open an engine, you'll find out that there's only a few parts in there. When you crack open a commercial washing machine, it's very different than a residential machine. The front comes off. They're built for maintenance. So you better damn well learn early on to fix equipment, especially prior to. So here's how it works. You sign a lease. If you're scared to call the landlord, I can do it for you. You sign the lease, and you bring distributors in, all of them. HIP, Speed Queen, Wascomat, ADC, Dexter, Continental Gerbeau, all of them. Have them fight one another. Have them show up on a Tuesday and beat each other over the head with their clipboards. They'll see each other's truck in the parking lot. 2 of them won't even stop. They'll keep going. Have them fight for your business for equipment that you need. The good distributors are going to say, you know what, let's fix all the equipment in your dumpy laundromat, Brandon. Let's get it fixed. Well, hey, guys, what's that going to cost me? Don't worry about it. Almost nothing, because they want to get your business. So they'll send their guy. You better damn well be there, looking over his shoulder, watching him fix that equipment, because it's not hard. It's not difficult. If you're an able-bodied man or woman, the biggest thing you want to know from that guy or gal is, let me know what's in your tool chest, because you don't want an entire set of wrenches. You want the one wrench you're going to need anyway. I could go on and on. Fix the equipment, learn how to fix it, but when you retool, it's just like your fridge at home. You have a choice when it breaks. Immediately go to Lowe's, buy a new one, or Home Depot, or Menards. Does Menards sell stuff like that?
Yeah, they do.
Never even seen a Menards.
Oh, you poor soul.
I know. I'm in this town looking for the Menards.
We didn't go up Bridge Street. So
you go buy the equipment immediately, or you say, you know what the hell's wrong with it? And if you crack it apart, how hard could it be? I've always found that. How hard could it be? So once you have 6, 7, 8 laundromats, you're thinking, you know what, bro, I'm making so much money. Of course, be smart. Bring someone in who you trust. Brandon fired 7 people while I've been here for 2 days because they're all knuckleheads. The 2 people that are still in the room here are okay. One of them has got to go.
He's very upset. Eli's very upset.
Yeah, you said his name. I didn't say his name.
So.
Sorry, Eli.
He's
the one holding my phone, so I didn't mean Eli.
And YouTube in on it and make you guys feel like you're important.
By the way, Noah, I want to give you a present right now, live on camera.
It's present time.
Come over here, kid. You can give up all that crap.
Oh my goodness.
Come stand where the
Here's the
I
award
don't give a
ceremony
shit
guy.
about the feed. So, for exemplary service, et cetera, I just stand here where the cameras can see you. Oh, all right, that's perfect. When I had my stores, whenever you're collecting coin, and it's rarer now, but I used to use this big bucket, right? We didn't have Menards, and I used to use a coin pitcher, like a Kool-Aid pitcher. And whenever you're collecting coin, you can hear, that doesn't sound like a quarter, because it's silver. It's pure silver. I wasn't supposed to do this in front of Eli, but that's okay. Noah's the winner. I'm going to give you one too, Eli. I have always carried the silver coins, the quarters from my stores. I always keep one on my person. And you might be an Uber driver. You might be someone that I just met typically. Every single one of my successful students that opens a store gets a silver quarter from my stores. So there's no ceremony or pomp. Tell me what year it is. 1958. So that's pretty cool.
That is very cool.
Anyway, so that's silver. And if you don't collect bullion, now you do.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for working with me.
There was a handshake.
He took really good care of me while I was here, as did Eli. Eli, here's your quarter.
He just threw it in.
I love you, Eli. Oh.
He did give Eli $100 earlier.
Eli had to snap off the real money. Give me my quarter back, Eli. Now we've lost. You can still have your quarter.
Eli can't take the joke very well. It's okay. We love you anyway. So let me read through questions real quick on TikTok.
Teen angst is a serious thing, Brandon.
Oh, it is.
Call 1-800-TEEN-ANGST.
Yeah, my daughter's turning 13 next week.
I have 3
so
teenage daughters in the house. 13, 16, and 19. I'm Italian. I'm 51 and I still have hair. Why? Always the hair. Noah's over there just cracking up. We were just talking about the hair. Thank you for not mentioning hair plugs.
Oh my goodness.
Somebody, yeah. The first time we met, Brandon had shaved his head. I didn't know about all the early kerfuffle over the fact that you needed to shave your head. So if you're an early Brandon Investment Joy follower, you know all about that. It irked people to no end that you had that. What do you call it? What do you call that? Not male pattern baldness, but the friar tuck, I like to call it. And good for him. Shaved the stuff off, stopped wearing the silly hat. And when we first met 2 years ago, I came out here and somebody said, "Nice hair plugs." What's wrong with you? Anyway, that's my secret.
There you go.
I'm Italian.
All right.
Brandon has no comment.
The YouTube feed has laughs in it from the. It's Italian hair jokes. That's great.
Yeah.
They're asking when the self-deprecating Italian Catholic jokes are going to start as well.
Yeah.
So, real quick, I want to do some rapid-fire questions. My sales team is saying that we need to get on our Zoom call. I'm trying to confirm that, so we might end the stream in 15 minutes. I don't know. So I want to just do rapid-fire questions and answers on TikTok real quick. D. Blaren from Springfield, Ohio says, it's Danny D'Angelo. Yes, that boy says that you want to get in gumball machines, but all the licenses and insurance deter you. That's why I would never get into gumball machines, because if you are in a very litigious state where they make you dot every I, cross every T, it's not responsible. It doesn't make sense.
It's in my course. Don't do it.
Yeah. So Danny hates vending machines. I like vending machines, but only do it when it makes sense. Yeah. High traffic locations, you should be making an extra $500,000 a month.
$500,000 a month?
$500 to $1,000 in a month.
The wrong business.
Off a machine that costs you $1,000. To me, that's a low opportunity or low cost opportunity. The gumball guys that I know that run gumball machines, the best one makes $50 per location. Does not make sense to me at all. Jules asks, where can you put vending machines? Can you put them in parks? Sure. You can put them anywhere you can negotiate a deal. All of the magic's in negotiating.
You need a big
yeah. Next question, security systems, commercial grade, just buy over-the-counter versions. I like Lorax.
All right, buy commercial grade, because ADT is going to come out, install it all for free, and they're going to charge you a monthly fee, and that monthly fee is a write-off.
Okay, that's Danny's.
Yeah.
Is there an opportunity for Amazon drop boxes? Sure, but I don't know the economics of it. How do you get in the laundry business? Do you guys have any type of training? We do at investmentjoy.com.
All right.
Did
your Uncle Stu put that in?
I wish I could pay for these, but I have no clue who little_Mike_1 is. Yes, you can, little Mike, at investmentjoy.com. Your bribe will be in the mail.
Yeah, really.
How about ice vending? I've looked at ice vending. I absolutely love the concept of it, but the machines are $50,000. Okay, I have a question. Have the cops come out to investigate things? You feel bad for me. Yes, they have plenty of times. We've only had the cops called once this year, so things are getting much better than they have been in the past.
No.
So, Danny says no.
I clean up the mess before they get anywhere near my stores.
That's a different line of questions.
Oh, you mean for never mind. It got quiet. That rapid fire.
Yeah. Let me go, and I'm going to read through on YouTube real quick.
He's emailing his wife that he's going to be late.
No, I'm asking, are we getting on the Zoom call at 5:30? Because normally Thursdays at between 5 and 6.
The sales calls?
Not sales calls. Calling people and doing
the
Zoom chats.
Oh, my God. Everybody that's on here needs to be on that, especially while Danny's here.
Everybody needs to be on my private Zoom calls. So I'm going to read some rapid fire questions off of
If you sign up
YouTube.
for Brandon's silly course,
My silly course at
you're
investment.com.
gonna personally be able to Zoom with him.
Here's a fun one. I'm sure they didn't think we were going to answer it, but would it be great to build a laundromat / weed dispensary / music venue? That to me sounds like the sketchiest
Awesome.
possible business venue.
Go ahead and do it.
I'm not saying it won't make money.
We will send the police. To be honest, no. You don't want to look. Everyone think you're sitting. I want to assume that you're into music, so you think, hey, wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
No.
So
No.
interestingly enough, we with the investmentjoy.com, the coaching, mentorship, education system, we just talked to a guy yesterday who spent last 3, 4, 5. I can't remember how many years he said he was involved in music, and he cannot make any money off of it. I'm not saying it's impossible, but for me, if I was young, I would want to get into the thing that makes me the absolute most amount of money in the shortest period of time. That's legal.
And he also
Legal.
mentioned, I fielded that sales call,
Yes.
and the guy actually said, we're having fun here, and I enjoy picking up the phone and talking to people in reference to Brandon's course. Loads of fun. He can't afford to hire me on as a salesman, but that kid, I talked to him for about 40 minutes, and he said, yeah, I've been in music, and I can't earn any money. And I said, well, your parents probably think you're not. No, my parents are very supportive. So he even had that going for him. It's not easy. But look,
Cool.
my kid is a creative, and she does well.
There you go. How do you scale and keep quality? You build a system.
Yeah.
That's the only way you do it.
Everything has to be in a system, and you have to be the head, not the titular head, but the actual head that keeps the snake alive.
Yep.
Do apartment complexes bring in good money?
The people that I know that are worth over $100 million, I know 2 people right now that are worth over $100 million, and they've all made it in large multifamily real estate type stuff. I know one guy, he's worth about $100 million, and most of his money is from trailer parks. The other guy is from multifamily and single smaller homes in San Bernardino.
The question
County,
was,
California.
do apartment complexes make money? And I want to say my buddy Brian, shout out to Brian in Utah, hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank and working for him as we speak. And he snapped off how he sold tons of apartments in Hawaii at the right time.
Nice.
Seeing the froth and the bubble and understanding how to ride it, that's a big deal.
What's your opinion on wash and fold?
Can they hear him asking the questions? What's your opinion on wash and
What's
fold?
your opinion?
You should have a wash and fold in every single laundromat. You should have a wash dry fold in every store. Will you run it? Will you operate it? No, not at first. When you have 1 or 2 stores, you're going to give that business away to a entrepreneur, the type of person that can't even spell the word, but they want to own a business. Instead of investing any money that they might have, you're going to invest in them. You're going to give them the wash dry fold business. It's all in the course.
Yep.
See how I tied that in?
Danny's given you probably 40% of his course. So
I'm not
far.
giving you it. I'm just saying, hey, I've got 740 YouTube videos, and
That's a lot.
if you want to sit through all of them, you will get 80% of the course, I guess. I don't know. But I've never purposefully held anything back. But if you want it all in one place, investmentjoy.com.
Yeah.
Do you recommend a 24-hour facility?
Absolutely. Has to be. Your consumer is likely a single female. I don't mean that she doesn't have a husband. I mean that she's alone or with kids. She or he or they or them have 2 jobs. When they can do the laundry at 2:30 a.m. on a Wednesday, let them do the laundry at 2:30 a.m. on a Wednesday. Don't pigeonhole or limit them. Now, furthermore, if you close your doors, let's say you want to close at 10, it takes an hour and a half to do a load of laundry. I told you I could go on and on about this shit. So you have to really close the doors when? Not at 10, but 8:30. So now you're shooing people out with a broom at 8:30. Not good. Be 24/7.
We had an idea earlier about the R-rated movie idea thing you guys want to talk about together.
The what movie thing?
Something about a movie thing you guys were both talking about earlier together.
Your parents and the R-rated movie stuff.
Oh, the R-rated book.
But we could end with that, and I think.
I don't know that we're
Are
doing.
you still asking questions?
Yeah, we're getting tons of questions. I don't know that we'll do the R-rated bookmobile thing here shortly because it's a funny story. I'm going to answer a couple questions real quick. Had a couple on TikTok. Is California really hard to build in terms of laundromats? And the answer is it's miserable.
Don't bother.
Don't do it.
Look, if you're on this call and you have millions of dollars to build a laundromat, go build something else. Go take your equity in whatever you have and do something else. What laundromat guy would say that to you? The laundromat guy that's telling you the truth.
Yeah.
If you don't have millions of dollars, learn from someone that has created that empire. Laundries are great. I don't talk about what I charge for lease negotiations to anyone who's not inside of my course. You can get into it through investmentjoy.com or go directly. Every one of my YouTube videos has a link in the description. My course is cheap. I've been browbeaten by many, including my friend Brandon, about the price of my course, but it's a business card. It's an entry-level phenomenon where you might watch it and say, this isn't for me, and that's money well spent. More importantly, time that earned you an exit. So I really want to be realistic about it. I had a woman last week before I came here that had purchased my course. She paid for because the second tier is a consultation. I get on the phone with you, we talk one-on-one. And she did that. She threw me some money. We got on the phone. All the emails from her were very negative. She was down in the dumps. You could tell. We got on the phone. I don't remember her name, honestly. I do. I guess I just did. We got on the phone, and I want to get to know people. I want to understand what I can do for you and how I can do it for you. And she told me she has to do this laundromat thing. She has to do it. She's got 2 kids. She worked at a major medical facility in a state, and she got hurt on the job. And 6 months ago, they basically told her, no, you didn't. You got hurt at home. She wanted to talk about laundromats, how she was going to do it, how she's going to, okay, well, how are you living right now? The dad left when the kids were very, very young. She's alone in this. How much? She was a physician's assistant, a PA. It's a great job. She went to college. She's got 2 degrees. Highly intelligent woman. Messed up her back very, very badly. I'm hearing this heartbreaking story, and she says, I've got to do laundromats. I said, well, tell me a little more about what happened with the hospital. She was moving juice boxes above her head and tweaked her back.
Oh, my goodness.
She says, I went home. Did you report the injury? I did. She says, I went home. I reached for the doorknob, and my legs came out from under me for the second time that day. I called 911. I couldn't move. They took me to the hospital. This is 6 months ago, mind you. She couldn't work. So the hospital said, we'll put it all in writing. Every 6 months, we'll revisit. You'll talk to your personal care physician, and we'll find out if you're eligible to come back to work. So I'm hearing this story. I said, listen, I'm going to send your money back. Every penny you've sent me. She's living off of savings with her kids, doing what my mother did, peanut butter and crackers, right? So I said, listen, you trying to spend your savings to operate laundromats and go through it, you can do it. But what I want you to do is hang up the phone, start calling attorneys. I'm not a litigious person at all. It's hard. I asked more. I said, who was with you when this happened? In the closet, I thought, good God. Her legs came out from under her while she was doing something not in the course and scope of her employment, when she was moving juice boxes as a physician's assistant, okay? And this story is not about me. I said, who was there? Guess what? Her best friend, who's also a PA, was moving juice boxes right next to her. I said, what happened? My leg came out from under me. My back was messed up. She sat me in a chair. The hospital said, that didn't happen here. It happened when you went home and grabbed the doorknob. She said, I couldn't even press the gas pedal. I almost crashed on the drive home at a stop sign. So the truth is, she did not understand that the hospital, this is an OJI. This is an on-the-job injury. So I'm not a saint. I charge for what I do. It is not enough. It's not very much, because I love making and minting millionaires. I told Shelley while I was on the phone with her, I'm not a big organization. I don't have offices. I have a lovely home office. I said, send this young lady every penny back. And I told her, you've got my cell phone number. You need to text me and let me know what's going on. And I said, you're going to talk to every attorney in the state of X until you get a yes. And she said, I don't have any money for an attorney. And that's heartbreaking because I said, okay, I'm not a lawyer, but folks are going to be salivating at this, what they did, how they handled it. You have a witness. You were hurt. Were you not hurt on the job? She's crying now. She said, I was. Okay, good. I don't know how that started, but it just kind of hit me about that story.
On a brighter note, Eric asks, what is Danny's favorite part of Circleville?
What's my favorite part of Circleville? This office.
It doesn't smell like cat urine. I'm
an avid skier, as are all my kids, and scuba diver, father, husband, business owner, and I love to travel. And Circleville is absolutely lovely. I think if I lived here, I would crush Brandon every way, but
Awesome.
I don't. But
I'm
I
glad
don't.
he doesn't.
Well, it's different, but I think that everything that you do here can be implemented in New York City, in LA, or what I've proved. And you'll see, because this course for you is new, you will start getting emails and letters and thank you cards from Brussels and Paris and other places that start with P. It's very nice here. And I just left 120-degree weather, so.
Yeah, so that's
And when you
nice.
start talking about the weather, you've run out of things to say. Not implying that.
Cool. So I had a question here about Elizabeth on here asked a bunch of questions. Do I think owning a car wash is a good business to have one? Yeah, we do. I'm not supposed to say this in public, but this is private, right, guys? We're doing about $30,000 a month at my car washes. Definitely not all of that's profit, of course, but we're doing very, very well at our car washes. I spend way more time on my car washes because I live very close to them. I live 10 minutes away. My laundromat's 45 minutes away. So I just don't spend that kind of attention that I would like to on my laundromats. So the next question is, would I ever bring someone on board and let them take over business and get half the money? Absolutely not. Half the money, 30,000. If my car washes do $30K a month,
Where's
and
that
I give them
question
half,
stemming from?
It's on TikTok, but
come on.
it's because they don't understand how the numbers work, which is okay. I get. You're not in the business.
Well,
you
someone
understand numbers.
go watch Shark Tank and understand that the way Shark Tank works is
Good
you've
thought
got
process.
you've got VC people, venture capitalists. They have money, but they are limited in time. So when you've got someone, look, you want a favor from your uncle, you ask him for the favor. That's family. You want cash from someone that has it, you better come with a plan.
Yes.
And then you watch the whole argument on Shark Tank is valuation. Hey, if they see an idea that they like, they're going to fight over it. So in that case, in that instance, on the show Shark Tank, which I'm not going to advocate you watch a ton of Kardashians, but some good television is Shark Tank. They're going to value your business and say, okay, you did $1 million year one. Why the hell do you need $4 million more? Well, because we want to scale, we want to do this and that. And then you watch the sharks fight because they're going to say, all right, we value your business as $40 million. So we're going to give you $1 million for 51% of your company. And now you're going to say no, because if your business is valued at $40 million, 51% is not something you ever want to give away. But again, a good partnership.
Yeah.
These sharks know things, and they have friends and connections are important. Can you do any of this without it? The one billionaire that I have on speed dial, my buddy Rick, self-made. My friend Brian, I mentioned earlier, self-made. What that means is without connections, without friendships, without paying somebody off, etc. Don't think for an instant that the 51-year-old me can't look back and say, I did all of this myself, because I did. All of it. There's no way to grease anybody's palm when you don't have any grease.
Yep. Yeah. So anyway,
I forgot the
but
question.
to go back to that question, would I bring somebody on board let them sit over one of my business and them to get some money off of it? Absolutely. A percentage of it? Yeah. We've already...
Because I'm a TikToker.
Yeah, because I'm... Yeah. But, so what I've done inside my YouTube channel is we've now got a fund set up. So all of the money that I make off social media now goes into a fund. And if the deal is Danny's like, what the crap are you doing, Brain? You're insane. So I've got a percentage of all the money that comes in off YouTube, course sales, TikTok, brand shout outs. This podcast is sponsored by ladderlife.com. Get a life insurance quote within 5 minutes. I really like Ladder, so I throw them out here every so often. But anytime I do a shout out, it goes in a fund. And if someone can stick with me for a year on YouTube doing like what Noah's doing, they get a cut of that. Is it going to be 50% of my YouTube channel? Heck no. Is it going to be a percentage that will probably be worth their time? Yes.
And you have to be cautious because if you offer a percentage of X, what X is today will be Y or Z in a year. Yes. So that's a gamble. I like it.
It is, but we're doing it. That's how I'm doing it. I've been doing it on my car wash.
Speaking of a gamble, we should tell everybody where I stayed last night.
Oh yeah, we made Danny stay.
You didn't make me do anything.
He gambled with that. Thankfully, it was not a double-sided gold dollar.
I don't do that.
It's a $2,000 piece of gold that is sitting in front of my desk right now. We made him stay at Brandon's Southern Ohio extremely illustrious
trailer number 20.
Trailer number 20 at the
I can still smell the cat urine.
He stayed in
deep,
my wonderful
deep in my nostrils.
Trailer park. Or the trailer with
trailer park's not bad. There were some lovely folks I hung out with, and
that's good.
Yeah, we drank moonshine. Coming in a future episode, Danny spends the night in trailer 20.
Yep. So that's gonna be
Don't
fun.
gamble, kids.
Yeah. And then for everybody asking, you'll see the video in the near future about the guy walking down the street that I caught today with the sledgehammer headed to my laundromat. That's what the clickbaity title is. If you are on my YouTube video right now, you see the thumbnail of the guy hitting my Hamilton bill exchanger.
Your change machine is gone, is what you should call it. That's the truth.
I already titled this, and we're already had 3,500 people checking on that stream. So
I don't know how you do it. I don't even understand it.
So
Here's
where it is.
Torque.
All right, quick question. Here's a question on YouTube. If you had the choice of starting all over again at 18 years old, would I go through the traditional 9 to 5 or go straight to entrepreneurship? For me, it depends on my financial situation. If I didn't have a roof over my head, I would totally get a 9 to 5 for a little bit. Meanwhile, after 5 p.m. or before 9 a.m., I would be working on a business. I would find something for me to make more money in. I've said this on TikTok and YouTube quite a bit. If you would go and you're in the Midwest, get into gutter cleaning, for instance. You need a freaking ladder and a bucket. You can go to Menards, you can get a ladder and a bucket for $75. I'm telling you, you can charge $100 an hour right now in most of the Midwest.
Paint curbs, clean pools, whatever you need to do.
There's this list. I've got this list and I'm going to do a YouTube and TikTok series on like 500 different jobs that you can make $100 an hour doing within the next year. Meaning you're not going to start off at $100 an hour. You'll probably start off at $25 an hour, but you can take that skill set and within a year, learn a little bit of marketing, learn some work ethic, learn just some stuff. We've got a live request.
Can I answer the question?
Okay.
Because the question was if you could go back to 18 and change. First of all, I'm a firm believer in keeping the space-time continuum going in a straight line. So that's impossible. It's an adorable question, but I want to say.
Did we break it?
No. The kid just drops my phone.
Oh, okay.
Right? It's hard to hold up a phone. I want to say that, no. Honestly, to look back, you asked the average bear, what would you, if you could go back? Yeah, but I'm not going to say that because what if I changed something and I'm not sitting across from Brandon? So I'm sorry. I just wanted to answer the question.
Okay.
No.
It's a valid response. I had a request from somebody with over 800 viewers on TikTok if they wanted to do a live stream co-host with me. I have no clue who they are, and I did not hit the button.
800 how many?
750 some people active.
Well, he's probably pantsless.
It was a female, it appeared. So
She's probably pantsless.
If it was a pantsless female on TikTok, the stream would take a very big change.
1.21 gigawatts.
Yeah. So.
The room got quiet.
It did, because I'm trying to read the questions on YouTube and trying to read the questions on TikTok.
You need some people to help.
Yeah, Noah's doing a pretty good job, but we wanted to turn on the TikTok feed
Noah's
and
been
just see what happened. We've
compensated
had probably
handling.
20,000 people on TikTok watch this stream. We've had almost 4,000 people on the YouTube stream check in, which I appreciate every single one of you, whether you're on TikTok or whether you're on YouTube.
How many do I have? Are you even live right now?
It says live as a little people symbol and 0 next to it.
Good. I guarantee it's not live.
It's probably an unlisted feed. I want to take a guess.
Was there ever anyone on it? Okay.
It's a private feed, so you can republish it should you so desire.
Yeah.
We can use it as a third camera feed.
It's fine.
It'll be fine.
I'm fine with it. Trust me.
Yeah. Stephen Pritchard has
King
asked
of
me
laundry.
on YouTube, should I have ever thought about selling my real estate and buying more expensive properties because I'd have less headaches and having less properties overall to manage? The answer is that's proof that the algorithm's not feeding you my content, because I've done like 4 videos in the past 6 months about it. So,
Okay.
so the camera's on me here. We can do some more rapid fire questions. But the big thing is, like, I'm doing that right now. So I'm downsizing my portfolio a little bit. I've identified 12 houses to sell. I'm selling 12 places. They should net me in my pocket $350,000 to $450,000. I'm going to use that money to go and do other properties. I've also got a $1.2 million cash out refinance I'm working on right now in my portfolio. So I'm trying to do those 2 things so I can go and get better properties that are a little easier to manage. But the thing is, I still want to continue to buy small dumpy houses, fix them up, and use my system that I've got. But I want to do it on YouTube so I can show YouTube and TikTok, so I can show you guys that are watching the whole entire process from start to finish. I haven't done that since I went viral for the first time on YouTube. It's really disappointing to me, because it's just, I went viral and then coronavirus hit and my business has changed. Meanwhile, I'm in there trying to do social media and things like that. Lee JP on TikTok has asked me, is Canada a good place to do business? Sure it is. It's North America's pretty good. I mean, Canada would be a market that I would get into, but they are a little more litigious than we are in the United States. There's a little bit less resources than we have in the United States. I'm going to go over to my YouTube feed. I'm going to ask a couple of these questions, or answer a couple of these questions. The Anthony R.R. Mills Show says they agree with the gutter cleaning. Drone Scene says I should come to the United Kingdom. I would love to someday. Another person asks, what are my opinion on vending machine cafes in Singapore and Japan? I don't know. I think I'm going to try them. Another guy asks, does my car wash course cover the motor room build up? Absolutely not, because if you want to build a motor room at a car wash from the ground up, you're going to spend $250,000 on it minimum. To me, it would be better to buy one that already has the motor room already set up for little to no money down. You figure out how to work an SBA loan on it. You have use somebody else's money to pay for at least 90% of it, preferably 100% of it. The infrastructure is going to be there. The motors are going to sit there. So then you design that. Yes, you can go get a company. We're talking Car Wash Superstore out of Mansfield, Ohio right now. They will re-engineer my mechanical room. It's going to cost a minimum of $100,000. So why deal with that when I can use what's in place? So there's the answer to that question. True Text talking about aircrete. I'm not a. That's cool. I don't understand that. Over here on TikTok, I have a person that asks me, how much Londonderry places do I own? I own no real estate in Londonderry, Ohio. Now, if you were asking about laundromats, I own well, technically I own 2 laundromats. But you have to clarify whether you're talking about Londonderry, Ohio, or laundromats. You almost drop your gold?
No.
Okay.
Never happened.
Jawin asked me, how much do I need to make the profit with the laundromat? I don't understand that question. I spent no money out of pocket to start my laundromat. I used other people's money to purchase the location to fix it up. So I used no money out of my own pocket. So Oz says hello from Australia. So
we're all back.
yeah, we got 15 minutes. Well, let's say 10 minutes left.
8 minutes.
8 minutes left. My phone has 5% batteries. It will die.
Oh, my
So
goodness.
if anybody knows my wife, you should probably call her and say, I will be home a little bit late, but not severely, because my phone will be totally dead. I have a hello from Turkey, not the food from the country,
Ahoy.
on TikTok. So check out my coaching, courses, content, and education at investmentjoy.com. You can set up a free call with somebody on my team. They can go over your pricing, benefits, features, because the price changes depending on what you want. It's hard for me to tell you price. And we will have totally free options in the future. They're just not rolled out yet. I've got a couple free courses that we're going to do. I have this opinion of doing courses where if you need to learn how to make that first dollar, it'll be free. Then you want to learn how to make a $10 million real estate company, then you got to pony up some money. Does anybody have more questions for Danny real quick, or I can continue to read off the YouTube feed? Because I started answering questions and we had like 8 to 10 questions come in on YouTube.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
But we got Danny D'Angelo live with us in the studio. I'm going to flip my TikTok camera around. This is Dan D'Angelo, the king of laundromats. He is the world's biggest, best, amazing laundromat man.
Huge.
He has helped people start stores or take over stores in 29 countries. He says 28 countries, but he forgets that the United States is a country too.
It is.
And there are 50
Still.
states, and he has helped people start their own laundromats. He has helped them acquire laundromats in all 50 states. I'm Brandon. If you guys don't know me, I'm a 36-year-old laundromat guy, grew up poor, central to southern Ohio. I have over 130 rentals right now. It was 140 when we did the YouTube channel, but I'm selling off some places. I don't even know how many I have right now. Got 2 car washes, technically 2 laundromats, but we're selling 1 any day now. And I do content on YouTube and TikTok, and I try to help people start their own businesses. Had a kid fly up from Mississippi 3 weeks ago. He watches my YouTube. I think he's purchased my courses before. He likes my content. He's 17 years old, bought his first car wash, I think 6 months ago, which is really cool. So I've been doing paid courses and things like that for about a year or so, and we've helped some people start some.
17 years old, and he's got his
17.
own business.
He found the car wash. He went to his dad. He said, let's buy a car wash. They went out and got funding for it. I think they used private money on it. I think not the dad nor the 17-year-old used their money. They found some rich uncle. They negotiated financing for it. They got the location. They're fixing it up, and they've already fixed it up. They're making money. They're looking.
The
for
money's
more.
out there. The people act as if, okay, that's an impossible deal. It's not going to happen for me. But if you are wealthy and you're into capital venturing,
Yes.
if you're a VC person, whether you know it or not, you don't want to do the work. And so when you find somebody that wants to do the work, that has a good plan, of course it makes a perfect partnership. That's it.
Yeah.
Putting them together, well, that's up to you. That's the legwork.
Yeah. So
That's all this laundromat talk and money talk. What
Yeah.
about R-rated movies?
let's talk about R-rated movies, and then I'm going to give you my rundown of how do you get private investment, because everybody wants to know how you get something for nothing. So we had this conversation. Danny's a movie guy, and I am not a modern movie guy. It's like I've watched when I was 10 years old. I had already watched both Terminators, Scarface. I had watched all the Godfathers, any movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Dolph Lundgren, those kinds of guys. I watched every single one of them. And it's just a situation. Oh my goodness, the battery on this camera is getting low. That's great. I'll try plugging this in before this camera. This is the important camera, guys.
No, it's not. My camera's the important one.
Okay, let's try this.
Everybody's going to have to go to my YouTube
no.
feed, just like the last
It's
time.
breaking.
Are you breaking
No,
it?
it's the camera's almost out of batteries. I forgot to turn the gimbal on, so I
don't
can't.
like the
I can't make
gimbal.
fun of no on this one. It's Brandon's fault totally. So
Well, you can come sit next to me if worse comes to
anyway,
worse.
so my dad absolutely loved these movies. My mom hated those kinds of movies. So, being an 8-year-old kid that's growing up in the middle of nowhere in Ohio, how do you watch these cool movies with your dad that's a Vietnam veteran? He loved watching people blowing other people up. So how do you do that? Well, you call the library when you're 8 years old and you say, I need you to bring Terminator 2 to my house. And they have something called the Bookmobile, where they load movies up and they take them to people in rural locations.
Isn't that for little old ladies?
Well, worked for an 8-year-old kid. So they would bring, Predator, Predator 2, the Terminators, to just about my house. I brought him to the school that was right next door. So my brother and I watched practically every movie. So when Dad came off the road from driving a truck through the week, he was usually home on weekends. It was time to binge watch every movie we could find under the sun. So I spent a lot of Saturdays and some Sundays watching Arnold Schwarzenegger's Best. So,
My youngest, Dory Ann, is named after my dad's best friend's wife, Dory Pollock. And when my parents got divorced at 13, it was the typical dad weekend. Go to his apartment, sit on the couch, and rent some movies. But the difference was my father, being a contractor, part-time freelance pharmacist, that all tied in to Dory and her husband, Al. I don't think they're listening, but these were very close personal friends. And Dory loved movies. And so here's the 13-year-old me. And check the timeline. Terminator was brand new on VHS. Dory and Al had 2 video stores called Video Venture in Glendale, Arizona. My father built the stores from scratch. I was helping him build the stores. Anyway, I remember the moments when Dory, she would get so excited, just enamored about these films and tell me, the 13-year-old me, about the blood and the guts. And, oh, my God, you've got to see RoboCop. Oh, you're going to love when you see the Ed 209. And she would bring me these stacks of videos. And, of course, true to form for Lou D'Angelo, we went and visited Al a couple of times in federal prison. When you see those little do not replicate in the beginning of a rented tape, okay, you're wondering, is that real? Well,
I know where this is going.
Dude, he had a video store, and those videos were what? $600. I mean, it was ridiculous.
It was
ridiculous.
On the time, they were not cheap.
And so Al, let's just say that he was convicted. Obviously, he would replicate these videos, and it was bad. I remember seeing the covers, and they weren't in color. It was just it wasn't right. They had a lovely gay couple that used to come in and rent movies. But these guys looked the part, They were tall and slender and in good shape, and these gentlemen were just lovely. Until the day they came in suits and said, whoosh, FBI.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, horrible. And again, these things flow back to you. It's really odd because sitting here under the lights, you remember. And that was the first time I ever saw Arnie was probably a bootlegged videotape.
Oh my goodness.
Like and now kids are on the internet and thinking, oh, this is all a gag, and it's harder to have a slender gay couple come in and slap you in the cuffs. He went away for that.
I have heard those stories like that. I have heard that we had bootleg movie places here in central and southern Ohio where people got in trouble for that. And
I loved Dory and named my youngest after her.
I wonder. I meant to ask you when I was out at your place in November, what she was.
My oldest is Daniela, because when we got pregnant with a girl 19 plus years ago, I thought, okay, never gonna have a boy. I just knew. I don't know why. I just said, let's just name her after me because there's never gonna be a dude. And then Delilah. And I think Shelley and they're all spelled a little bit unique, and then Dory Ann. So we're all double D's. Except for Shelley, except for in the physical way.
Noah.
Where's the drum beat, Noah?
Yeah. There we go. Okay, cool. My battery's dying on the camera. My phone has 3% left. If you have a question, feel free to DM me on Instagram. I try to get to all my DMs pretty quickly. I appreciate every single one of you. Check out Danny D'Angelo. What's your channel name on YouTube?
King of Laundry.
King of Laundry.
It's my name, Danny D'Angelo. And
Danny D'Angelo, King of Laundry. There should be, we can throw a link to his channel on the description of this. I think the description's blank at this point. So we're going to end the stream. I appreciate every single one of you. I appreciate all of you. Make sure you like the video both on TikTok and on YouTube before you click off. And keep watching my videos. I appreciate it. We got a lot of things. We're back on track to doing the house giveaway. I've talked about doing a house giveaway on my channel forever. I got ripped off by an advertiser 3 months ago, and it really sucked. They committed to paying for it, and they didn't. So we're restarting, and it'll be in the near future, I do believe.
I just want to say that you may wonder at home if Brandon is who he claims to be and if he is this guy, and he genuinely is this guy. We've become pretty close over the last couple of years, and I consider him one of my good friends, and I can text him at 3:30 in the morning.
And
He might not text back.
I won't.
But he's a genuinely kind, giving, and caring individual. And if there's anybody you can trust, it is most certainly Brandon.
Cool. All right, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Don't turn mine off.